Hello, fellow forgers. This is Bonfrey from L World, and this channel is dedicated to all players looking to maximize their gameplay on Forge of Empires. Be sure to submit questions you have, comments, and I can work those into future episodes. Today, I wanted to show you what I liked about OF. A lot of people don't like OF. It's long. It's a very, very long tech tree. And you're going to be there a while. What I thought was intriguing about OF were the amount of different units, different military units that they introduce. There's just tons of them compared to most other eras. But some of them are just, in my opinion, just total garbage, and then others are really pretty awesome. So I wanted to show you a couple different real-world scenarios and why I choose certain setups. I was able to fight all the way through from the OF map all the way to the end of SAAB using OF troops. So I was able to fight, against SAM and against VF and the whole deal. So anyway, there's certain situations that you're going to run into where you need a combination of troops. So this is one of my setups. This is two eels, okay, hydroelectric eels, which a lot of people overlook. And then, of course, you got your turrets. So the turret's an artillery unit. What's great about both of these troops is that turrets have a huge range, and they have they basically have splash damage, what I call splash damage. So once they hit, they will hit up to three of the quadrants here or whatever. So the benefit of the eel is that they can run, they have a huge range on them. So essentially, this eel can run all the way across the map and actually hit. So they have a range of like 35, I think, a movement of 35 and a range of 10. I might be off on that, but anyway, it's one of the only troops that I've come across that can do this, like on the first hit, run across the map and actually engage. Now, in this scenario, these artillery units cannot take on a flying unit. So if you just only had turrets and this guy even had one flyer, you'd be done, right? So I use the eels to take out the most threatening of the initial troops, and then in this case, this is just PvP. So I have no idea if I'm going to win this battle or not, but I basically just wanted to show you what was going on and just see how it approached this. So the thing I'm going to do with the eels is immediately go after the seal wardens. So I'm going to hit there, and then they're going to do their thing, and then I'm going to actually, I think I wasted the turn when I was clicking around and stuff. So this is where manually fighting really helps with the turrets, because you want to choose your target wisely. So in this case, if I go for this guy right here, then we're gonna see some splash damage, because see how it goes up and down. So I always aim for like the middle troop. If they're clustered like this, it really helps and gets the most efficiency out of your bang for the buck, so to speak. So I'm just going to keep hammering these things, because the steel wardens are pretty hard on turrets. At least that's been my experience. So let's see. This is another turret. So I'm just going to kind of pick my targets here. Let's see, that guy. No flyers, obviously. So just kind of picking them off. And if you're judicious about what you're hitting and when you can fight really effectively with this setup. You can see the range. It's just it just takes out everything before they even really have a chance to get across the board. It's pretty sweet. So this guy's hidden. Oh, that's another cool thing about the eels, is they can, like, basically invisible people or invisible troops are visible to them. So super powerful setup combo right there. I mean, it's total. I used the shit out of this setup before, and I liked it. So then I'm going to show you. So there's two other setups I used in OF, and again, like I said, I actually enjoyed fighting in OF. It was, once I just played around with the troops enough to just figure out what would work. So, all right, what am I doing here? I'm talking and not paying attention to what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to just pick the next lowest guy in my hood. And now we're going to do, so let's talk about GbG, Guild Battleground. So in Guild Battleground, honestly, one of my favorite setups was to do 8 eels. OF was the one era that I almost never used rogues. I know there's, everyone's gonna have their own opinion about that. I'm a big rogue guy, especially in SAAB and SAAB for sure. And I'll do other videos to show my setups in SAAB and SAAB. But for OF, I really liked the 8 eel for auto battle. So, just basically, in fact, I'm just going to go in blind and auto battle and see what happens with this guy. All right, so I only lost 1 eel, so that wasn't too bad. And I didn't, I was fighting SAAB troops, so that's kind of smoking. So that the 8 eels are great for GbG, just because you can rack them very quickly. You just have it ready to go in terms of your military. So you choose your age, and then you're right here, right? It's really fast to just swap them, and it just worked really well in speed fighting in Guild Battlegrounds. The complaint might be and is legitimate that you will lose. They're not a real sturdy troop, so that is the downside of that setup. So but it can be really good, especially when there's flyers. I'm going to go to my third setup, third and really final one, which is I would do 2 or 3 sub cruisers and then use rogues. So this is a bit of an exception to what I said about, like, I barely ever used rogues. The reason I barely ever didn't, I didn't use rogues a lot in OF was because by the time I unlocked the sub cruisers, I had already figured out the whole, like, two eels with 6 turrets, and I kind of stuck to that. And then the 8 eel thing for speed fighting, and because my Traz was making 70 eels a day, so I just they were just cannon fodder. What's also nice about the eel combo is that they're going to run across the map and be kind of like cannon fodder, and that's and then due to turn priority. Oh, by the way, this is huge with the eels. Sorry, I'm jumping around, but the thing about the eels that is also just so powerful is that they actually get first out priority. Okay, so if you're against an enemy that also has first out priority, like Tesla Walker, for example. Tesla Walkers are a pain in the ass. I mean, like, when you're fighting OF and you're going through the map and you're fighting VF troops, oh my god, the Tesla Walkers are going to put the hurt on you. So what I would do in those scenarios is I would start, depending on the number of Tesla Walkers, I knew it would take 2 hits from an eel to drop a Tesla Walker, even though my attack is like 1,000, and or at the time it was around 900 probably. So I would run 4 eels and 4 turrets, and then the eels would go. I would get a chance to go across first, and right out of the gate hit a Tesla Walker. Then one of the Tesla Walkers would come out, and if he happened to hit on that chance thing where they have the eyeball, like, it's a 1 hit, eel's dead, right? And so those scenarios suck. But when I was doing the map, if that happened with the first eel, if he would just get vaporized right away, I would just start the battle over, right, and reload, and then I would run anyway. I'd run the eels across because they get the priority. Tesla, it gets priority on the other side, so it's 1-1-1-1, and then basically take those guys out, and then use the turrets. The thing that's cool about fighting VF, for example, with OF troops is that there's no flyers in VF, so you're guaranteed to, honestly, that you can use your turrets all the time, right? So it's kind of cool. But and there are some useless troops in OF, in my opinion. So I was going to mention that. So let's go back over here to OF. I'm just kind of clicking around. So this was my map fighting setup here for the most part. It was either 4 eels or 2 eels, depending on what the racking was on the other side. And then, like I said, another nice scenario for Guild Battlegrounds would be this with rogues. So I'm going to go all the way up here. Okay, I wasn't set up for this. Sorry. I'll just go to Bronze Age. Okay, so here's a nice auto battle setup right here. So this is probably the most superior auto battle setup for preservation of troops, not having to re-rack during battlegrounds and things like that. This will hold up quite well, either 3 or 2. Just kind of got to figure out what works for you. Sorry, that's not the right thing. But anyhow, that's that. The troops in OF that I think are of little use or should be used in very specific manual scenarios would be not the subcruiser. Where is it? It's this guy, the Scimitar. Just not really a thing. It can move, but it only has a range of 1. It's kind of weird, and it's just kind of weak. It's a light unit, so I never use the Scimitars like at all. The Mantas are interesting because they kind of do the splash damage thing. So you might want to play around if you're more like into the techie, kind of weapons. You might have some fun with that. I'm not totally sure. And then also another one that's just lame too is the Nautilus. Never used that really. These other troops I'm showing were just so much more effective. The Medusa, it's cool, but again, useless in the scenarios I was talking about. And then there's one unit that flies, right? You've got a flyer. So I was going to try to find the flyer. Yeah, here it is. So the glider. Now the gliders are actually really cool if you run up against a lot of artillery, and you're gonna have that. So if you happen to know what the lineup is of the enemy you're going to attack, I would definitely keep gliders on the short list because they just obviously artillery has no defense against them. So a few of those with some turrets or whatever, and you're gold. Octopods, tough. These things are kind of tough, but I would just kind of sometimes just throw them into the mix just for fun to get rid of them, but I didn't really build any strategies around those. And incidentally, I see some champions here. Literally one of the most useless eras of champions ever. It's just worse than I could have possibly imagined. So the crabs, almost no use for them either. So So I mean, everybody has their deal, and the way they want to approach fighting. Those were my setups, and it was very, very successful for me. And like I said, it was great actually. So I hope this has been of some help. Oh, and I will mention this. A very common question I see in our guild is, hey, I just hit OF and the troops are weird and I don't understand them. I'm just going to use hover tanks because hover tanks are tough. I mean, they're badass. But the problem with doing that is now if you have an AO, you have completely basically turned it off, right? Like it does not work. A lot of people don't know this. The AO will not work if you're not in the era fighting that you're in. So in other words, I'm in SAAB. I can only get support from my AO with SAAB troops. So I just wanted to mention that because, a lot of players do tend to run like their hover tanks and stuff. And, it's not necessarily to their advantage, especially because the AO is such a valuable offense hit building because it's not a chance building like the Kraken. I mean, the Kraken, has its like the first 18 battles or whatever. Whereas the AO, in my case, I've got a 25.43% chance of dealing 150 damage, every single battle I do. So it's a very useful building. It's an expensive building, but it's awesome. So Anyway, that's what I got for today. I hope this has been of some use and to help you in a variety of ways in battling an OF. And that's what I got for today. So for John, and please subscribe if you like what you're hearing. Talk to you later.